Hello everybody, this is Dan from Christie's RV, and today we're going to be taking a look at this beautiful home away from home. This is the 2020 Jayco Jayflight Bungalow 40-foot loft. I'm going to be going through some of the stuff that you need to know once you've purchased this unit. Why don't we start at the front? At the front of the unit, you have your propane tanks. They're under this cover. To remove the cover, you're just going to lift up on it and take it off. So you get two 30-pound propane tanks. In between them is a crossover regulator. So this system is designed to be used with both propane tanks in the open or on position. On the regulator itself, there's this indicator. So whichever direction that this indicator is pointing, that's which tank it's pulling propane from. So it'll be pulling from that tank until the tank becomes empty. Then it'll automatically switch and start drawing from the other tank. When that happens, there's a sight gauge here. The sight gauge will go red, indicating that whichever bottle that this arm is pointing towards is empty. Once you notice that that's the case, you can switch the arm over to the other bottle. The indicator will go clear because that tank will have propane, and then you can safely remove the empty tank and have it filled. Here on the side of the unit, you have your cable or satellite hookup. So if you have either of those, that's where you're going to hook up the coax cable. Next thing is the sewer hookup. So on this unit, there is actually two sewer hookups. So on the front one here, you have a black tank and a gray tank. So to use this system, you're going to take the cap off. So you just twist it, it comes off. You're going to hook your sewer hose on, it twists on. Then you're just going to pull the valve, whichever one you want to empty. At the back of the unit, there is a second sewer hookup there and another valve beside it. Now this is only used if you have a washer dryer installed at the rear of the unit. It's only for the pre-prep for the washer. So here you have your outside shower. Above the outside shower, you have your city water hookup. So that's where you'll hook your hose up to supply the trailer with water. Above that, you have your black tank flusher connection. So this unit has a flusher built into the black tank. So it's meant to be used with the sewer hose hooked up, the black tank valve open. Then you can hook the sewer flusher up and it'll help clean the inside of the tank. Up here you have your hot water heater. So to open the door, you just have to twist the catch, lid come down. Now everything is controlled from inside the unit. So the only reason you need to open this is to remove the drain plug. So the drain plug is here, it just threads in the hole. So the one thing to note that if you're wanting to drain the tank will be under pressure. So you need to open up a set of taps to bleed the pressure off before you pull that plug out. Above that is the pressure relief valve. It is common for them to drip slightly. So if you notice a little bit of dripping from that, it is completely normal. So down here you have two furnace exhausts, and in between you have your fresh water tank fill. So if you wanted to fill the onboard holding tank, you're just going to put your hose in there and fill it. Once it's full, it'll start, the water will start pouring out underneath the unit, out the overflow. Now, if you have water in the tank and you want to drain the onboard fresh tank, down underneath the unit, you can see the white valve. That's your drain for your fresh tank. So on all four corners of the unit, they have stabilizer jacks. So the stabilizer jacks are only meant to stabilize the trailer. They're not meant to help in stabilizing in leveling the unit. One thing I would recommend is to put blocking underneath the jacks. The less the jacks have to extend, the more stable they are. And the unit is supplied with the crank handle to bring the jacks up and down. So inside this back compartment, you have your power cord. So it's a 50 amp power cord. We do supply a 50 to 30 adapter and a 30 to 15 adapter. That way there you have whatever option you need to plug it in. To plug in the unit, it's a twist lock plug. So the plug is at the back. You just have to plug the unit in and twist it, and it'll be hooked up and it can't come back out. On the door side of the trailer, at the back of the unit, you have a power plug-in and another one beside the patio door. So the stairs themselves, to open the stairs, you just need to grab on the bar, pull out, and flip it down. Open the patio door. So for the awning is an electric awning. When you come in the patio door, you get this compartment, and you have your switches. So you go to the awning one, you're just going to press the out button and hold it. So electric awnings are not intended to be used in bad weather. So if it's windy or heavy rain, recommend that you put your awning in. If you're not at your trailer, I would also recommend that you put your awning in the in position. So the awning itself is adjustable for the pitch on both sides. So you can adjust both sides down or one side down, whichever one you feel that you need. To adjust it, you're just going to grab this lower arm and pull down, which will bring that side of the trailer or the awning down. So when you want to put it back up, you're just going to push it back up. It is common on these style of adjustments. Eventually you will have to tighten up the joint because it's using friction to hold it down. Over time it'll be loose, so when you pull it down, it won't stay down, it'll just go back up on its own. So you just need to add a little bit of tension onto that nut. To roll the awning back up, it's just the opposite. You're just going to press in and hold it until it comes all the way in. So in this main control center at the top, you have your monitor panel. So this will tell you the battery condition, how much water is in the fresh tank, the black tank, or both gray tanks. So to check that, you're just going to press on the one that you want. At the top, they all share the same gauge. So battery, fresh, black, gray, and gray. Below that, you have your controls for your water pump. If you're going to use the onboard water pump, you just need to turn the switch on. If you're going to, when you want to turn the water heater on, you get two choices. You have either propane or electric. So if you want it to run on electric, you're just going to turn the switch on. It's going to run on electric. If you want it to run on propane, you're going to flick the gas switch on. So it will light on its own. If it for some reason doesn't light, there's a little fault light up in this top corner. It's just going to help to inform you that the water heater did not light. Below that, you have some of your light switches inside and outside of the trailer. And below that, you have two slide outs and your awning controls. So the slide out themselves, you just have to pick if you're wanting to go in or out. Hold the button. So all slide outs need to be either all the way in or all the way out. They don't seal in the middle. So if you're going to use the unit, you need to put it all the way in or all the way out. So below that main control center is what they call your load center. So to open it, you push on the tab. In here is all your breakers and fuses. Everything is labeled on the door. One thing to note is that RV breakers do not have an indicator for when they're tripped. So if you're having a power issue, I'd recommend finding the right breaker and just turning it off and back on to ensure that it isn't just a trip breaker. This unit also has a onboard vacuum. So the vacuum itself is in this small compartment. You would just pull the hose out as far as you need it, and then just flip this on switch to turn the vacuum on. And the bag is inside the unit. When you need to change the bag, you just pull the door off and change the bag. This unit is equipped with a residential style fridge. So once the unit has power, the fridge is turned on. On the range, to light the range, you're just going to pick which burner you want, turn it to the light position and push it in until it lights, and then you can set your temperature. Now the oven part of it is just the center knob. You're just going to set to whatever your temperature is. It self lights, and then we'll just cycle like a normal household oven would. And on the side here, you have an inside light switch. Above that, you have your microwave. Built into the microwave is the range hood. So it has the vent. It's just controlled by the switch here. And you have high, low. Beside that, there is a light that's underneath. And it's just that button. Next thing here is the TV. So if for some reason you need to access behind the television, if you're going to hook up another device or whatever, it has this chain. If you pull the chain, it releases the TV, and then you can access in behind to hook up what you need to hook up. And then when you push it closed, it just latches in place. So below the TV is the fireplace. So the fireplace itself has a couple different options to operate it. So you can either press the buttons on the unit itself. It comes with its own remote. Or the television remote also will control the fireplace. So on the bottom of the television remote, the bottom 4 buttons will control it as well. So you can turn it on. You can change the flame. You can select between high heat, low heat, or no heat. And you can set a timer so it only stays on for half an hour, stuff like that. Now with the television, the hookups are in this bottom compartment. So you can see it there. So the hookup here has a button on it. So the button is what you're selecting what you want it to do. So if you want it to pull from the antenna on the roof, you have to push the button so above antenna is lit up, and if it's cable, it's the other way. And up top is the stereo. So on the stereo itself, to turn it on, you're just going to push the power button. So once the stereo is on, you can select through what you want it to do. You can put your DVD in. On this side here is your speaker selectors. So there's 2 zones. So zone 1 is the interior speakers. Zone 2 is the exterior speakers. And you can do whatever combination you want. So you can have just the inside, just the outside, or both. If it's red, it's off. If it's blue, it's on. So on the recliners over here, they're heated and they have vibration. So just to control them, you're actually just going to touch what you want. So if you want vibrate, you're just going to touch the vibrate. And there's a couple different levels of vibrate as well as the heat. And you can turn the lights on as well. So on the back side of the sink island, down here you have your CO and propane detector. It's wired to the battery on the unit. So the one thing with it is if it goes off, there's two LEDs on it and it'll indicate if it's detecting a propane leak or carbon monoxide. The other thing as well is if the battery becomes low, it will emit a high-pitched squeal just to inform you that it's not going to work properly. So in the hallway here, you have your thermostat. Now this thermostat is what they call compassive touch. So it's not actually a button. It's similar to your smartphone where you just have to touch what you want it to do. If you push too hard on these thermostats, then they will stop working. So you just have to touch it. So the first time you touch it, it's just going to activate the unit, and then you can cycle through what you want it to do. So the first time you touch it, it'll just light up, and you'll pick what you want. So the first setting you come to is fan. So the fan setting, you can set it so just the air conditioning fan runs to help circulate air. So your choices are auto, high or low fan. Now if you leave it in high or low fan, it will run the air conditioning fan while the furnace is running. If you leave it in auto mode, it will not. So cycle through to the next thing is your air conditioning. All you have to do is set it to the whatever temperature you want the air conditioning to go down to, and it automatically going to work. Next one is the furnace. Same thing. You're just going to set to the temperature you want it to be at. Now the furnace is going to come on. It's going to run for 15-20 seconds before it lights. Then it'll just cycle through however many times it needs. When you either shut it off or it comes down to temperature, it will shut the flame off and run the fan for that 15-20 seconds again on its own as a safety precaution. And you turn the unit back off, you're just going to go to the off screen. Beside that, you have your vent controls that are up in the ceiling. So you can open or close the vent, and then you can turn the vent on or off. It's up there by the fan. Beside that is the switch for that front circulation fan. Now in the bathroom, the fan controls are the same. So you can open the fan, the lid, and you can turn the fan on and off. And you have your light switches. Below that you have your GFI reset breaker. So anything in this unit that is in a wet location, so the exterior plugs, the ones in the kitchen and the one in the bathroom are all controlled by this GFI. If it trips, no matter which plug it is, it's going to have to be reset here. If it trips, the little red light's going to be on. To reset it, you just press the reset button. Now the shower has this lock on it for travel. Just take it off the handle. So that's the toilet. So the toilet itself is a foot flush. So with the toilet, if you push the pedal all the way down, it flushes the toilet. If you push the pedal part of the way down, it just adds water to the bowl. So beside the toilet, you have this access panel. So to open the access panel, you actually just slide it open. What this gives you access to is the bottom of the water heater, or the back of the water heater. So the unit is equipped with a bypass for winterizing purposes. The little yellow handle is the bypass. So in the location it's in, it is in winter mode. When you turn the bypass, that's going to be summer mode. So that's going to be what you're going to use it at. The other way is for winterizing purposes. So we'll go up into the loft. So you have your light switch here. So up at the top of the loft, you have your connections for TV if you wanted to, as well as a USB charger and a furnace duct here. So in the bedroom, on the wall, you have your slide out switch here. So we'll put it out, it's the same as the front. So on top of that, you have your light switch, and on top of that, you have your thermostat for the rear furnace. So to operate this, on top there's an on and off switch, and then you'll just on the bottom set to the temperature you want, and then the furnace operates the same. It'll run for 15-20 seconds before it lights, and then it'll just cycle as needed. The bed itself has lift props, so when you lift the bed, it stays open so you can access your stuff. Turn the furnace back off, you just turn the top switch. Now for winterizing purposes as well, there's a bypass on the water pump. So there's this access panel here. And it's really hard to see, but the bypass stuff is inside that compartment all the way to your right hand side. There's just a valve on it as well. At the very back of the unit, you have a space to hook up TV, and you have your charging center, so there's two USBs and a cigarette plug. Now in this back cupboard, it is pre-prepped for a washing machine, so it gives you the location for the drain here. It gives you your water hookups, which you do have to winterize those lines as well, and it gives you your location for adding the dryer vent. So that's the Jayflight 40-foot loft. I hope you have a great day.